If you feel stretched, overwhelmed, or constantly behind as a drummer, this episode is for you. Because the biggest threat to musicians heading into 2026 isn't lack of talent. It's lack of focus. Too many drummers are doing everything and building nothing. Let's start with an uncomfortable truth. Most drummers don't have a time problem. They have a priority problem. You practice, you gig, you post, you network, you say yes to almost everything, yet you still feel stuck. That's not because you're lazy. It's because your attention is fragmented, and fragmented attention creates fragmented results. Here's the shift you need to understand. Focus is not about doing more of what matters. It's about eliminating what doesn't. Most musicians never stop long enough to ask, what am I doing that looks productive, but isn't actually moving me forward? Focus begins with subtraction. Let's talk about why this is so hard for drummers. Music culture rewards availability, being flexible, being down for anything. But availability is not a strategy. It's a survival response. When you say yes to everything, you silently say no to depth. And depth is where value lives. Here's a key idea for 2026. Generalists get hired. Specialists get remembered. If you're known for everything, you're known for nothing. Focus doesn't mean you stop being versatile. It means you decide what you want to be associated with. Style, approach, outcome, problem you solve. This is how drummers move from another option to the obvious choice. Now let's make this practical. Here's a simple focus framework you can apply immediately. First, choose one main lane for the next 6 to 12 months. Not forever, just this season. Ask yourself, what is the one area where, if I improved it deeply, everything else would benefit? Examples: skill depth, consistency, creative output, teaching, visibility, stability. Focus doesn't lock you in. It aligns you. Second, set boundaries around distractions that feel important. This is where most drummers fail. Distractions aren't always obvious. Sometimes they look like extra gigs that drain you, content you feel pressured to post, collaborations that don't align, learning everything instead of mastering something. Focus requires disappointing people, including past versions of yourself. That's growth. Third, build a rhythm that protects your focus. Not motivation. Rhythm. When do you practice deeply, reflect, create, rest? If your focus only shows up when you feel inspired, it's not focus, it's luck. Focused musicians don't rely on mood. They rely on structure. Here's another hard truth. Focus feels boring before it feels powerful. When you stop chasing everything, your ego panics. You wonder if you're missing out. But what you're really doing is compounding. And compounding always looks slow until it isn't. This is why focus is a competitive advantage in 2026. While others scatter their energy, you deepen, you refine, you build clarity. And clarity attracts opportunities without chasing them. That's how drummers become more than a drummer. Let me say this clearly. You don't need to do more. You need to do less, on purpose. Focus is not restriction. It's direction. In the next episode, we're going to talk about systems. Not hustle, not motivation. Systems, how drummers build things that work even when they're not playing. This is where everything starts to connect. If this episode helped you see things differently, like the video, share it with a drummer who needs focus. And subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next. We're not just playing drums anymore. We're building intentionally. This is how musicians become more than a drummer.